Trust the Profits Breeders' Cup coverage is brought to you by PlayUp Racebook, the most horse player friendly racebook in the industry. PlayUp Racebook is always your best bet.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Doubling Down with Colin. Vinny's on a little bit of a hiatus, so we got to bring in some special guests. And I'm so glad this week to be joined by the one and the only, who is the only one that's more active in YouTube chat rooms than me, is Dennis Trusty. What's happening, Dennis?
Well, first of all, thank God Vinny's gone. Oh, my God. No, thanks for having me. It's Maryland Millions Day. I thought this was Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, but it's not. So I guess I'll still have to be here instead and enjoy it while I can. Right, Colin?
We'll do our best. And I'm a man of my word, Dennis. So I told you when you said that you charged $7,000 for an appearance fee, I said, all right, I'll cover your ticket. So I'm going to bet your ticket this week. And if it wins, you will get the winnings from that. So the pressure is on you. And you can't go all along.
If it's $7,000, that covers the feature. Woo!
You are good. First and foremost, just want to remind everybody of our new sponsor here at PlayUp Racebook. Sign up and deposit now. Receive a 50% deposit bonus up to $250. Free money. That's why we love these sports books. If you deposit $100 or more before the Breeders' Cup, they'll give you an additional $25 free wager if you just let them know in the chat. So do not miss out on the free money for Breeders' Cup. They have some great products available on there as well. I'm going to give you a quick update on where we're at with our standings. I have been going the wrong way. I did get my money up to about $55. I've slowly been chipping away at that. I replaced Vinny there with a horseshoe and a horse for my guests. So each and every stride. Keith last week hit the first leg but missed the second leg. That is the theme of this show. We always seem to hit one leg and miss the other one. So the guests are down $6, but I have total trust in my friend Trusty to get us off the snide and get a double for us. So we are going, as Trusty said, to Laurel Park. This show, we love to go all over the place. We've been, I think, to a different track the last 5 or 6 weeks now. And so the first leg of the double that we are looking at, we're going to look at race 9 and 10 on Saturday, October 22nd. They're going 1.1 miles on the turf. This is the Maryland Million Turf Stakes for 3-year-old and up. A field of 13 with 3 also eligibles. This is Wednesday. We don't have the odds yet, so we're going to do our best. It's not my strength. To do our best to see where we can land. Trusty, where did you go here?
Well, actually, to bring it back to the guest logo real quick, I mean, you know, the one you had with the 16 and the -6. If you see on there, you know, it's a horse magnet. I'm kind of like a, you know, chick magnet. I'm a horse magnet, I guess, right? But no, this race at Laurel, it's Derby. Is it like Derby? I mean, my God, the field sizes here are fantastic. So for the first leg, I went deep. It's a turf race. And currently, at time of recording, we do not have odds out. So for my first pick, I went to the 7 as the top pick. The 7 here, every race on turf has been really good. And it's only had 4 of them, 3 on the program that I have. And every one of them's Brisnet has a 90-plus speed figure. So that's my top. And should close really well on here, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it. I have the check mark on the 7 as well, and you said exactly what I highlighted on my past performances is the 3 races on the turf really stood out to me. Has raced on the turf 4 times overall with 2 wins. Is the first on the Prime Power Brisnet speed, the Brisnet power numbers, which leads me to believe that this horse will probably be the morning line favorite. That is usually pretty close in figuring out who the favorite was. So I do have the 7 on my ticket, but I didn't have the 7 on top. I decided to go way outside here to the 13, probably because of the name, Crabs and Beer. That's a superb name for a horse. And what stood out to me here is when I started going through this field at 1.125 miles. A mile and an eighth is a distance that I really like to go through and look at horses that have performed well at that distance in the past. Or I look at the comment line and I want to find horses that inspire me that they're going to be okay with this 1.125 distance if they haven't been, if you don't have a lot of horses that have been running that. And this 13, if you look at the last 3 races in the comments section, at a mile or over a mile, even finish, ran on, driving, willing. And I just love closers that are running best late in the race on the turf at longer distances. I love Jamie Rodriguez aboard. This horse has raced 16 times and has been in the money 12 times. It's also, as you're going through, and you mentioned Brisnet. I use Brisnet as well. I love how they give you the comments on the positives and the negatives. And for half the field, it's beaten by weaker or it's stepping up in class. And in these races like this, I prefer to go with horses that have shown the ability to hang with that class. While this horse is moving up in class, it's moving up from allowance races. And so Crabs and Beer was the horse that I had put on top of my ticket, along with the 7 that you had mentioned. I don't believe you had the 13 on your ticket, though.
Yeah. No, I didn't have the 13, sadly. It was last cut. It came down to, well, I kind of want this horse in a better post position. Now, I put the one towards the inside of him as well. I used the 12 in there. But the difference is I think the 13 is going to have to fight for a position. I think the 12 can drop back. And that's my only major concern with the 13. And I think the 13 is the best horse in the race. But just to me, the post draw and what I think the odds are going to be, it kind of talks me off the 13, if that makes sense.
It does, and the name on the 12 is from one of my favorite movies. I hope you know who Nick Papagiorgio is, right?
I'm not a movie guy.
Oh, Vegas Vacation. Nick Papagiorgio is the gambler, the son of Chevy Chase, and he is the one that is always winning in the casino, while his father, Chevy Chase, is constantly losing. And so Nick Papagiorgio is the name that he uses on his fake ID in order to get into the casino. So little movie trivia for you there. That's a Vegas Vacations movie you have to go see.
Now I got to go watch a movie now after we're done with this.
Homework.
And then also, too, for me, I used the 9 in there, Benny Havens. And I also used another horse out of that same race as well in the 2.
Hold on. You're using a horse that has 1 win in 26 career starts. Why?
Yeah. Well, because 1, I'm crazy, but 2, I like the last race, and I really think that the horse will be closing in very well. I like the change of tactic last time. I think it worked out better for the horse. Now, it might not have been change of tactic. Some will start and just kind of picked up late, but and it's also, too, it's the X-Man at Laurel. I got to always pay attention to that. So, but so that's 1, and plus, like I said, the price is going to be good. Plus, I like the 2 a little bit too. Coming out of the same race, and just the fact that if it folds up, I expect the horse to make a move, because at this time last year ran second in this race. So.
Beaten by another. I also decided to use, so for my sort of longest shot, who I'm hoping is the longest shot, I decided to go with the 6. Rumjar, I guess you're going to say. But so this one is interesting. This horse hasn't run on the turf.
Yeah.
And the turf pedigree, using Brisnet, 0% winners, 2% turf on the sire side. Even the distance, average winning distance, what I like to look at, is not there. This horse won a maiden claimer. So what the heck am I doing here? I like the fact that the horse is going longer. I like in the last race at a mile, was willing towards the end of that race, put up a 92 speed figure. Not too bad. The speed figures have improved. So this horse is only 3 years old, and I've seen improvement in the speed figures from spring through the summer, and now as we're getting into the fall. I'm taking a little bit of a shot here that the horse takes to the grass. And I'd like to maybe, it's kind of that you don't know factor. So I'm not going to let that horse beat me, and I'm going to include the 6 first on the grass and hope maybe cross my fingers a little bit.
Yeah, if I could show my program now, I could and would, but I can't, so I won't. But the only thing I have circled is turf, and then I have the whole pedigree like listed out like it's for dirt, and then I have just the highlight of there's been no turf races, just double checking on that. Just the fact of is there been a turf like off the turf or anything like that, and that kind of concerns me a little bit, but. I mean, look, the horse takes to the grass should run a very good race here. So I completely see what you're saying. And then the last horse for me, the actual second pick that I have here is the 3. Needs to improve on the speed figures. I know I'm going deep this leg.
You're spending my money, so it's okay.
We're still here. But, I mean, the 3, if you toss out the last 2, has a really good race, 3 back, but the speed figure doesn't agree with it, but that's okay with me. And also ran 4th in this race last year at 7-2. And I don't want that horse to beat me because he had a trouble trip last year in this race at 7 wide. And I mean, to be honest, oh wait, no. Oh, I misspoke. I'm an idiot. Actually that was 2 years ago. But still, same principle. I don't want this horse to beat me, if that makes sense.
If you like them a little bit, then you don't want to leave them off, right?
Well, not only that, it's just I like horses that run the same race I thought was last year. But like I said, I'm stupid. But that's still he ran in the race 3 years ago. Ran a good race. So, and actually, 2 of those horses that ran in that race are still in this race this year. So,
yeah, a lot of them are coming back from that. The only other horse that I had on my ticket. And I think we have both gone deep, and I don't even know if we have any of the same horses other than the 7. We don't. So I think one of us is going to get through this first.
Yeah, good.
We have about 12 horses, and none of them are the same. But I would like this 11 Wicked Prankster. Same thing. I hate to beat the drum, but look at the comments on these races that are going long. And has shown some success at the 1 1/8, driving. The last 4 races have been on the turf, so it's okay to kind of toss out what this horse did prior to that. And it's also raced well at Laurel.
That's the main key.
2 wins, 3/3. So this horse is going to be the early speed. Like you said, having that outside post is not going to be probably advantageous to that. Hopefully he can clear and get over through some of this traffic. And that's the horse that I didn't want to beat me was Wicked Prankster, the 11. Second off the layoff is another angle I liked. So shown success at the distance, shown success on the turf, and second off the layoff. So I went 6, 7, 11, 13 on this leg.
Yeah.
Trusty goes 2, 3, 7, 8, 9, and 12. So if we don't get through this first leg, I think you're off the show for the future.
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, hey, wait a minute now. Wait a minute for the future. I could take all here. You want me to just take all? It'd be a better word.
No walls. We got to make some decisions and some cuts.
Yeah, exactly.
So we move on to race 10. This is for Saturday, October 22nd at Laurel Park, Maryland Millions Day. This is the Maryland Millions Sprint for 6 furlongs for 3-year-old and up. Easy for me to say. Another huge field of 14 with 2 also entered. We don't have the morning lines as we tape this on Wednesday night, but I think it's fairly safe. I would think that For the Love of Bourbon is going to be your favorite. Air Token returns, who is looking to win this race in back-to-back years. Where'd you go here?
Well, I went to the favorite top pick here. For the Love of Bourbon, being a Kentucky person, we like to drink bourbon. So,
Which bourbon
just,
you like?
Yeah.
Which bourbon do you like?
Oh, sorry. Didn't even hear what you said. I'm just continuing on. So I like Old Forester. I'm pretty plain individual on that. What about you?
I've been drinking Four Roses lately.
That's good.
I have a bottle of I have not drinking Blanton's before, and I have a bottle of that waiting for me. So that'll probably be what I open next.
Oh, I bought that once.
Yeah,
That's good. That's really good.
good.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to that.
yeah. I
So
kept
For
it.
the Love of Bourbon is who you have on top with Paco Lopez returning, and
Yeah.
this horse has shown success with Paco aboard.
Oh yeah. It's just this horse is riding a wave of momentum. It's just that's all it is. It's 22 starts, 11 wins. The horse is just a winner, and deserving favorite in here. I'm still going to try to beat it because again, I like picking prices, value, and not going just straight by the book. So, but I understand that this horse should and deservingly be favorite.
I also had the 11 on my ticket. I don't think he is one that you can put off. Basically, I mean, looking at the speed figures, this horse certainly stood out compared to the others. Paco stays aboard. It's got to be some of the early speed in this race. One thing that I did circle was this horse ran in this race last year,
Mm-hmm.
was 3-1, and ran its lowest speed figure and really worst race that we've seen from him over the course of the last year. But the comment line was that this horse was bumped at the start. So when you see that 0 for 1 at Laurel with a low speed figure, just make sure you look into why that happened, and that might not be what scares you away. The other horse that I was really interested in was again to the outside, the 13 Elusive Agent. This is a 3-year-old trained by Timothy Keefe with Sheldon Russell aboard, a jockey that I always pay respect to at a course like Laurel Park, hitting at 22%. This horse has raced here 3 times, has had 2 wins. And what I love to do with these 3-year-olds, as I mentioned, is see progression from the spring through the summer up into the fall. So this horse ran at Laurel and put up some 70s back to back in the 70s. They moved him over to the turf, which was an interesting option in an allowance race. He did not take to the turf well, finished 8th, was never really in the race. Comes back to the dirt with Pimlico and Laurel and puts up back-to-back speed figures of 88. Coming from off the pace, and this was a horse that I really wanted to ensure that I had on my ticket. I did consider singling that 11, and then when I saw you just take in all, I decided to spread a little bit longer. So I got the 13 on my ticket, but you do not.
No, it's kind of the same situation. 3-year-old from outside post, but at least with this horse, you won't have to worry about him being wide because he'll be just dropped straight back, and I think should get a pretty good trip for a closer. And the only reason why I didn't use the 13 is because the other closer I was looking at was the 14, and I didn't use either one of them, but I figured the 14 would have a more pace advantage on the 13. That makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
The second horse I went to in here for me was the 2. I think the 2 is actually that last race facing Yodel who's very talented. Another win machine. And just couldn't keep up off the layoff, I think. And I think second off the layoff really will do this horse well. As okay at Laurel, 5 starts, 1 win, 3 thirds. And constantly bet down too. So I expect this horse to be about like 8-1 or so. And I think that'd be good enough to try to beat the 11, who I think will be heavy favorite.
You may want to keep your eye on the 1, Whiskey and You, because I always hate when you take a horse because of the bourbon and then the other one that's named similar knocks you out. So that's the story of how I go through with these races. The other horse I took interest in was the 6, Treasure Tradition. If you've watched this show, I have angles that I continue to hark on. If people, my loyal viewers, are probably sick of hearing it, but I love horses cutting back that showed the ability to be in striking distance in the stretch in those longer races. So this horse had been running at 7 furlongs, was within a length and a half in those stretch run of those last 2 races that were restricted.
Mm-hmm.
And this horse is coming second off the layoff as well. So I'm hoping that the cutback, second off the layoff, the last race was in the slop. The speed figures have been there. There's some backlash here back in January and February that those races could probably easily win this, including one where he was 19-1 and finished second. So Treasure Tradition was a horse that I wanted to have on my ticket. That's the 6. And so that covers where I decided to go. I went with 6, 11, 13. Dennis got some company.
Sorry, no. So, anyways, to round my ticket off, fun.
The 5.
I got
the 5.
here. Huh?
The 5. The 5 is the last one for you to touch upon.
Yeah, the 5. Going to the lead will not be going to the lead. So, off the claim, second off the claim for Norman Cash. I'm treating that last race as a work race. If it was a work race, then he went 6 furlongs and 111. So that's a fine work. And to me, I think was claimed just for this condition. And Norm Cash runs his horses back really quick, really fast, and they normally surprisingly run okay for how they are ran back so rapid. But yeah, I think going to the lead was claimed for this race and will be a price. And if it goes back to anything like April, somewhere around that time, April, March, I think could be right there at the end.
So we haven't done this together. My last question for you is: it sounds like you put a lot of stock in your handicapping in post position. Is that something that you're kind of always paying attention to as far as where the speed is and what post they have?
No and yes. I like to think of everything kind of adding up to one. Like I said, for example, being 3 years old plus having that post position was kind of throwing me off. I kind of like to think of myself as an NHL goalie, try to look at all angles and catch them and block them and say, okay, how did I let this one slip by? Oh, I forgot this. Don't. And I try not to forget anything. Sometimes happens, but so I kind of think of an all-around kind of handicapper. And I think that's perfect for small tracks and large tracks all the same. I could look at Fawner $4,000 claimers and say, oh, well, this is fun. And then look at Breeders' Cup, which is coming around the corner. Play Up, Racebook.
Yes.
And get all your stuff there with betting. But, I can look at both of those races and say, I can have fun with this and I can try to make something info or get some knowledge out of it.
Nice. I'm always interested to hear how handicappers approach those races. And if you're playing it like a goalie, I can't wait to see your split to make that select save. All right, so my money's on the line with your ticket. You have now set the record for the largest double ticket on this show at $18. So pressure is on.
I break records. What I say, folks, I break records.
Well, hopefully that will also pay off with a record-breaking double. I think the biggest one we had was my it wasn't the Senior Buscador. It was Bran. Bran won the second race of the double, and that hit about $55, which is what I was living off of. So I have a $12 ticket. I'm going to go 6, 7, 11, 13 with 6, 11, 13. I can hit that 13, 13. That would be nice for $12. And Dennis is going to go, as you can see at the bottom, for the $18 Mega Millions ticket on Double and Down with Colin and Vinny. 2, 3, 7, 8, 9, 12, and 2, 5, 11 in the second leg. It looks like we can each hit if it comes up 7 and then 11. So
those are and that will pay nothing. So I think we'll be okay with losing at that point.
I know. Well, I will share the winnings based off of your ticket. Once again, everybody check out Play Up Racebook. They're giving away money, matching up your deposit up to $250. They'll put in 50%. And Dennis, thanks so much for joining me. This was fun.
Thanks for having me.
Trust the Profits Breeders' Cup coverage is brought to you by Play Up Racebook, the most horse player friendly racebook in the industry. Play Up Racebook is always your best bet.